So, how'd your week go? Did you have a good one? Certainly hope so. Here in the United States, we're getting ready for... Oh, wait a minute. I keep doing this. I keep starting this. Hey, welcome to Your Success at Last. I'm Tracy, your host. This is your To Improve Performance, your tips podcast until someone comes up with a better name for me, like I mentioned earlier this week. If you have any ideas for a name of this show, because the show to Your Success at Last, to improve performance, Your Success Last tips, I came up with when I was doing more articles and longer format shows. I don't think that's still quite, it fits, but it doesn't. It doesn't have the same oomph that I'm looking for. So again, if you can think of a better name for my show, I certainly would be happy to hear it. Email it to me at tracy@successatlas.com, or go to one of the podcasts you're listening to right now and leave a comment on your thoughts, and I'll probably pick a winner and figure out some kind of cool gift for them. Oh, definitely. You always got to give back. So anyway, welcome. How's your week going? Going good? I know I had a really good week this week. It was a little busy, but busy for me is good. Busy makes my days go by faster, keeps my mind going, lets me know that I'm getting something done. I'm accomplishing my goals. And that's what we're here to talk about. Today is finally Goals Friday. So in the spirit of goals, the question goes with the goals content, goes with our topic of the day. So here's the question. Have you laid the groundwork? There's a couple other ways you can ask the question. Have you done your prep work? Have you done your homework? The thing is, if you sat down, and again, like I say every single time with one of these questions, if you sat down and paused and asked yourself honestly, have I laid my groundwork? Do I know what I want was the other day's question. Have I done my prep work? Do I know what's going on in my world? Am I looking forward? Because once you lay the groundwork, then everything you build on top of that is that much stronger. So sit down today before you start your weekend. I'm not going to give you any questions over the weekend. I'm not going to hit you with any podcasts over the weekend. Not this weekend, anyway. It's Memorial Day weekend, like I mentioned earlier. It's got a 3-day weekend. I'm still going to hit you up on Monday, so expect to hear from you, hear from me. Expect to be hearing from you in what you think about the show and what's going on. So again, ask yourself that question: have I laid my groundwork? And if the answer is no, what do I need to do to lay my groundwork? What kind of groundwork do I need to lay? And to do that, you really need to take some inventory. Like any good business, and I've been in the inventory business a greater part of my career. I spent, 12 years at Coca-Cola, did some time, well, I can't say did some time, it makes it sound like a prison sentence. I worked for Home Depot. I've worked with one of the top wedding dress organizations, David's Bridal, worked for them for a while. I've been around the block, worked for some really great companies, and inventory is key. If you don't have the right inventory, that shopper, she's going to walk in, or he's going to walk in, and he's looking for something, or she's looking for something very specific, something to please their needs. And if you don't have it, they're going to go to your competitor and find it there. So you got to take some inventory. And in the world of goals, taking inventory is about what you need in your life. What is it you need to accomplish your goal? What is it, and also, what is it you have? These are the two things. I think we end up looking at one side and not the other. Sometimes we'll look at what we don't have and focus on that, and that really becomes a woe is me story. And we had a discussion earlier this week about looking through your life with new eyes, right? So what you want to do, hold on one second, I got dry mouth here. Sorry. Keeping it real. Not even going to edit that out. So anyway. So looking through your life through your new glasses. So don't just focus on one side, but I want you to be realistic. And I'm always going to try and come at you with the facts, not just Mr. Happy-go-lucky, the world is fantastic, and everything can happen. Although I tend to be happy-go-lucky, and I tend to believe the world is a fantastic place, and also I'm kind of, got to be a realist about it. The world is tough. The economy has been rough the past few years. I know I worked for an organization that sold high-end products, and in 2008, when the bottom fell out of retail, we managed to scrape by, but it wasn't easy. We had to pull our thinking caps on. We had to take inventory of what we had and how we could use it. So I want you to really, as you begin to set goals, and you take inventory for what you currently have. So, for example, if you're creating some financial goals, What are some of the things you're going to ask yourself? How much money do I have, right? It's pretty simple. How much money do I have in my checking account? How much money do I have in my savings account? Any stocks, bonds? How much am I putting in? There's the old rule. I've read a number of different places. You should be giving at least 10% back to yourself in the form of savings, right? Are you planning for your kids' college fund? How much is going into there? So these kinds of questions are going to help you set some smarter goals. I'm not going to see so much use the acronym SMART goals, which is a specific, measurable, actionable, reasonable, and trackable, or time-bound. Because sometimes we get so wrapped up in the acronym and we don't reach far enough, right? You've got to reach a little bit further. But taking inventory in the things you do have goes past the things you don't have. You got to take inventory of the things you do have, then you can start meshing those things you do have together. Like if you have a passion for computers and a passion to speak, you could do something like I'm doing. All right? I love to speak. I'm pretty good at computers. Put the two together, and here I am talking on a podcast. I am very passionate about personal development. Study it on a daily basis. I've studied it, oh my gosh, it's about 30 years now. Holy for holies, it seems like a really long time when I pause to think about it. It was back in the 80s I started studying, and I really started studying it a whole lot more after my daughter passed away. It was a way I was looking for a way to put some joy back into my heart after losing a 16-month-old baby girl. It sucked a lot out of my life, and I kind of buried myself into it and really found some ways to look at the positives of life. It hurt. It was painful. Losing a child is something I would never wish upon my worst enemy. Almost lost my wife at the time as a result. I mean, literally after our daughter passed away and we got back to our home, she passed away up in Pittsburgh at the Children's Hospital up there. We get back home and she comes up to me and she says, I've got to go to Texas. She has some family in Texas, and I need to think. And at that point, I had to take inventory of our relationship, and it was, could I say no and keep her there and her end up hating me as a result? Could have. Or could I say yes and hope for the best? So she left there, but maybe I save the rest of this story for another time, but because I want to get back to, taking inventory. So as you're taking the inventories, I kind of left you hanging there. Needless to say, she goes to Texas for, I think it was about a month, maybe 2 months, and I was up with my oldest daughter and taking care of her, being almost at that point a single dad, as the relationship, as my wife just kind of thought through things, but ended up getting back together and having a beautiful baby girl who getting ready to turn 18, or just turned 18, and started her first job. So all turned out well, pretty good. Hey, that's good speakering. How about that? So anyway, I'm sorry, I went off on a little tangent for you, but hey, again, that's why I'm here, right? To share with you these little tangents, these little nuggets, clearly letting you know that I took inventory of my life and tried to use what I've learned to get through that tough time. So I want you to take some inventory. What is it you have that you can use to reach your goals? And then as you're taking that inventory, what is it you don't have? Because here's one of the things. So many times we look at the things we don't have and we say, I don't have that skill. I'll never be able to do that. Yeah, you can. There are 87 million people who probably have that skill you have at various levels of expertise. Some of them are beginners. You can learn a little bit from them. Some of them are in the medium range, right? You can learn even more from them. Some of them are expert range. You can really learn a lot from them. But do you want to start with an expert when you're a beginner? You possibly could. But maybe you start with a beginner and learn a little bit, get a little flavor for it, right? Do you really like it? So many people take that inventory and they go one of two ways. Oh, I don't have the skill and I'll never get it. And they shoot down their goal. Or, I don't have the skill and I need to go find it. Well, if they go down that path, then the decision is, do I start at the beginning or do I start with an expert or somewhere in the middle? And there are challenges with all. When you start with a beginner to teach you some things, well, then you can end up getting stuck at just the beginning. And then if you start with someone who's in the middle, they can carry you a long way because they're fresh enough from being a beginner that they can share with you some of those learnings and carry you to that middle, but then they won't be able to carry you any further. So you'll probably have to keep taking inventory is probably the end message I want you to have, which is why we're talking about here on our Finally a Goal Friday. So keep taking your inventory. What is it you have? What is it you don't have? And where can you go get it? And where can you go get it at the right level of expertise? In my goals program that I wrote, oh my goodness, some time ago, and I refreshed it a couple of years back, I refer to this going to get it, this group of folks that you'll pull into your life, your 1-2 crew. Or you could, I think it's properly pronounced as your who-unto crew. This was a phrase coined by Benjamin Franklin back in his mastermind group way back from the beginning of the birth of our nation, the United States here. And so I stole that away from him, but it's those group of folks that have an expertise that you're tapping into, and then in return you're giving them something of you, something of your expertise in return. And they would meet weekly and share ideas and share stories and motivate each other, just like the mastermind groups you hear of nowadays. So I'm babbling on here because I want to share with you. I want to get with you. And first, before we close out, let me know what you think of the new format. It's a shorter format. I'm running a little bit over, about 1:17 over right now, so I'm ready to close out here. But seriously, send me an email, tracy@yoursuccessatlast.com or tracy@successatlas, or drop me a comment on the blog. Drop me a comment down below here where you're listening to this audio, wherever you're listening to it from. But shoot me an email. It's probably the preference. I would love to see those emails, and I will respond to them within about 24 hours. I think we've got a holiday weekend, so it may be a little bit longer, but I would definitely get back to you. And let me know about a name for the show. Tell me what you think the name should be. And then next week we're going to go into another set of dailies, cover some new topics for you. Again, starting for the Motivation Monday, your Attitude Wednesday, the Winning Attitude actually on Wednesday, and then finishing off on Friday with Finally Goals Friday. And I'll have a couple of surprises for you on Tuesday and Thursday. I hope you have a great weekend. And if you're here in the States celebrating Memorial Day weekend, please, ladies and gentlemen, pause and thank a veteran, whether they be alive or dead. That may sound a little bit morose, but I'm the son of 2 veterans. My father has long since passed away. He didn't pass away in war, but he survived 2 of them. My grandfather was in World War II, and I myself was lucky enough to serve 6 years in this man's in the United States Army. I would certainly urge you to pause and thank someone who's in uniform now or was in uniform previously, or be they dead or alive. Stop by, give a quiet moment of thankfulness, or just if you see someone on the street that you know was a soldier or is a soldier, pause, thank them, shake their hand, pat them on the back, let them know, you know what, we appreciate your service. As a former soldier, I can guarantee you they will thank you in return. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a great weekend. This is Tracy telling you once again, think successfully and take action. Talk to you later. Bye.